Hey everyone, this is Ben once again, and welcome back to another video. This time around, I am concluding the third and final installment of the Star Wars prequel trilogy. And yes, the best one is clearly saved for last. And this is the perfect way to end the prequel trilogy. And so, the one that I'm going to introduce you to is the best of the best out of all the three Star Wars prequels. And so, this one that I'm going to talk to you about is Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, for those who don't know, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was released in 2005, and it is the third and final installment in the prequel trilogy, as well as the third chronological chapter in the Skywalker saga. The film is written and directed by George Lucas, and the cast stars Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, Frank Oz, Ian McDiarmid, and Christopher Lee. And so, sit back, relax, and take in this video as I take you on a tour of the third and final installment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. Here you will learn how this movie was made and what exactly makes it one of the best of the three Star Wars prequels. And so without further ado, let's talk about the story and find out how well the film holds up. Taking place right after the end of the previous film, Anakin and Obi-Wan are sent to rescue Chancellor Palpatine from Count Dooku and General Grievous. After that, Anakin believes that he deserves the reward for the rank of Jedi Master, but the Council refuses to give him that reward due to the fact that Palpatine could be Darth Sidious right underneath their noses. On top of that, Anakin has a vision of Padme dying, and he ends up getting worried that the nightmares of Padme dying could end up coming true. Anakin ends up going to Palpatine, who tells him that the only way to save Padme is to go through the dark side of the Force. While Obi-Wan is out fighting Grievous, Palpatine, meanwhile, reveals himself as the evil Darth Sidious, who plans to execute the Jedi and forge the Galactic Senate into the Galactic Empire, while Anakin embraces the dark side and becomes the Sith Lord Darth Vader. It's up to Obi-Wan and Padme to not only stop Anakin, but to try and save him before it's too late. Now, what did I think of Revenge of the Sith? Well, I thought it was a fantastic third movie. It was a great way to end the third and final installment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. And it is really bittersweet as well. And the story arc of Anakin going from a heroic Jedi Knight to a tragic fallen villain that becomes Darth Vader is really bittersweet to watch. I love everything in the story. The film was well written, it had a great story, great characters, fantastic script, great direction by George Lucas, and the score by John Williams is very well done. When I was first introduced to Revenge of the Sith, I watched it on the 2-disc DVD, and I really loved it. And then when I rewatched it again on Blu-ray years later, I actually enjoyed it just as well, for it had very sharp quality. And I really enjoyed watching how all the characters went through such a journey in the three films. This is really fun to watch, making it not only a bittersweet movie, but setting the stage for what is to come in the original trilogy. This definitely makes this movie one of the best of the Star Wars movies and of the entire prequel trilogy as a whole. Throughout production of the film, George Lucas and his team decided to give this third and final film a title, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and it was the best way to conclude the entire prequel trilogy. Luckily, all the visual effects had to be done at a certain time, along with the stunt coordinations for the lightsaber duels. Even Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor had to be put in different hair makeups to signify the growth and maturity of Anakin and Obi-Wan. All the shots, including the space shots, had to be done at a certain point as well, and they all do really well. These unique combined shots make this film one of the best of all Star Wars movies. And now let's talk about the direction, writing, and cinematography of this amazing film. And here you will learn exactly how the third and final prequel was made and what exactly makes it one of the best of all the Star Wars prequel trilogies. Like with the previous two films, George Lucas once again directed the third and final installment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. You could tell that the director had a lot of fun directing all of those amazing scenes in the movie. He also took part in writing the story, giving us time to learn more about the characters and how you can relate to them. This definitely makes George Lucas's work one of the best among all the Star Wars movies. The cinematography is once again done by David Tattersall, and he did a really great job in using the cinematography for the third and final trilogy of the prequels. The space shots are very well done, and the shot of the Jedi Order is a breathtaking sight to behold. Even the scenes of Mustafar are very dark, giving it a much darker tone in the story. All of these amazing shots make Revenge of the Sith one of the best among all the Star Wars movies as a whole. Now let's talk about the characters of Revenge of the Sith. And there you will learn exactly what makes these characters not only entertaining, but very likable and relatable to the audience. You will also learn on how the actors managed to portray the characters and how they managed to really give their best performance of the entire prequel trilogy. To start off the characters, we have Anakin Skywalker, who is no doubt a Jedi and the prophesized chosen one of the Jedi Order. Not only do we see him take down Count Dooku at the start of the film, but he's denied the rank of Master because of his inability to control his emotions. When Anakin goes to Palpatine, he ends up being manipulated into knowing the dark side of the Force. And when he finally gives in, he becomes the Sith Lord Darth Vader and massacres the Jedi Temple, killing off almost all the Jedi, the Separatists, and he nearly kills Padme as a result. At the end of the film, his defeat by Obi-Wan leaves him wounded and burned, and he's put into the iconic helmet, suit, and mask of the Dark Lord of the Sith himself, making him quite an iconic character and very tragic one at the end of the movie. This character is once again portrayed by Hayden Christensen, who not only got in to play the role of Anakin, but he also had the privilege to play Darth Vader, and he was able to be put in the iconic suit of this amazing villain. This character of Vader is brilliantly voiced by James Earl Jones, who did a really great job in voicing the iconic villain. This makes Darth Vader not only memorable, but also one of the most iconic villains in cinema. Next up, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is Anakin's mentor and is the one that has a brotherly bond with him in the film. Throughout the film, he and Anakin do pretty well in their relationship, and although Obi-Wan is worried for his Padawan's safety, he respects him for wanting to be a hero of the Jedi Order. Not only is it cool to see Obi-Wan take down General Grievous, but by the climax of the film, he's devastated that Anakin not only has become Darth Vader, but has joined the dark side and even betrayed the Jedi. And he ends up defeating him in the end. And by the end of the film, he takes in Luke and promises that someday he will end up growing up to become a wise Jedi. This character is once again played by Ewan McGregor, who did a really great job in portraying this character of Obi-Wan, which makes him quite a fun character to watch in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. This is where we get to our next character, Padme Amidala. She is the one that's not only married to Anakin, but is also his wife, and the one to be the voice of reason when he needs it the most. By the end of the movie, Padme is not only devastated that Anakin has joined the dark side, but she ends up dying of a broken heart when she ends up losing the will to live. Yet it's also cool to see her give birth to Luke and Leia by the end of the movie. Her character is once again played by Natalie Portman, who did a really great job in portraying Padme, making her one of the most well-known Star Wars characters in history. Our next character is Mace Windu. He is also a member of the Jedi Order, and the one that is not quite sure of Anakin's capabilities. Not only does he end up confronting Palpatine, but by the end he gets defeated by Palpatine with his Force lightning. This character is brilliantly portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson. And Samuel L. Jackson did a really great job with the character of Windu. You could tell he was really meant for the part, and for the third and final prequel, it's no exception. This makes Windu's character one of the best characters in Star Wars history. Our next character is Yoda. He is the one that is one of the wisest Jedi in the Council. And he's also the first one to sense when something is going wrong. Not only is he devastated when his former Padawan Anakin turns to the dark side, but he ends up holding his own against the evil Sith Lord Darth Sidious. But by the end, he sadly loses and is forced to go into exile to Dagobah, where he would end up having his own solitude. This character is once again portrayed by Frank Oz, and he did a really great job in voicing this amazing character, making Yoda one of the best and well-known characters in the Star Wars franchise. Our next character is the villain Count Dooku. He is quite a well-known villain, and by the beginning of the film, he not only battles Obi-Wan and Anakin, but he ends up being cut off and killed by Anakin at the start of the film. This character is once again played by the late Christopher Lee, and he did an amazing job with the character of Count Dooku, making him not only quite a fun villain, but a very memorable Star Wars villain in cinema history. Our next character is General Grievous. He is another major antagonist of this movie. He is brilliantly well done, and he is quite a threat to Obi-Wan and Anakin. It's also cool to see how he's able to get into a fight with Obi-Wan, only to end up losing in the end when Obi-Wan ends up defeating him. His character is voiced by Matthew Wood, and he did a really great job of portraying the character of General Grievous. This makes him not only a fun villain, but a very memorable Star Wars villain in the prequel trilogy. And last but not least, we get to the main antagonist of the Star Wars franchise, and that is Emperor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious. And he really pulls it off as one of the best main antagonists in Star Wars history. He, in the beginning of the film, is the Chancellor, and after getting freed, he ends up realizing what he has to do next. And by the film's climax, he soon reveals what he really is. Not only does he tell Anakin the truth about Darth Plagueis the Wise, but he ends up manipulating him into joining the dark side, and ends up dubbing him Darth Vader. And this is where he becomes Darth Sidious. And boy, does he look like a scary villain. By the end of the film, he doesn't just defeat Yoda, but he ends up becoming the full master of the galaxy. Ian McDiarmid once again does a great job in portraying this amazing villain. You can tell he knows how to do Emperor Palpatine 1 second to doing Darth Sidious the next. This makes this character one of the best villains in Star Wars history. Now, aside from the villains of Revenge of the Sith, there's also fantastic side characters. And they are definitely the last two that we're going to talk about in this amazing section of characters. C-3PO is definitely regarded as one of the best characters. While his role isn't quite as large like the later films, he will definitely still be a supportive helper, and he's definitely pretty good. Anthony Daniels does a really great job with the character of C-3PO, and this definitely makes him so much fun. This last character we're going to talk about is R2-D2. He's quite a memorable character, and in this third movie, while his role is pretty small, he does pretty good in helping out the characters when he needs it at that time. This character is brilliantly portrayed by the late Kenny Baker, and he did a really great job with portraying the character of R2D2. This really shows how well this actor can pull it off, making R2D2 one of the best characters in Star Wars history. The music and score for Revenge of the Sith was once again done by John Williams, and he did a really great job in composing this amazing third and final installment in the prequel trilogy. You could really tell that John Williams had such a great time. He knows how to do an amazing score, from its lighthearted moments to its dark moments to its very hopeful moments by the end, and this definitely makes him one of the best composers in Star Wars history. When Revenge of the Sith first came out in the year 2005 in the theaters, it spawned quite an amazing success, and the critics loved it for how it really concluded the third and final trilogy in the prequels, which many years later would involve the same re-release in the theaters. Around the same time that the DVDs came out, it spawned a successful VHS tape, and it really did an amazing job in how Lucasfilm did it. Then, around the same time, a 2-disc DVD of Revenge of the Sith was released, which didn't just have the first disc of the movie, but the second disc showed the behind-the-scenes footage. Then, around the same time, the DVD was remastered, and the quality of it looks very much fantastic. Then it also spawned a successful Blu-ray release. And oh my god, the quality is amazing and sharp. And this multi-screen edition absolutely fits the mold of this Blu-ray set. Around the same time, it also spawned a successful Steelbook edition of the Blu-ray, and it really has amazing cover art from the way that General Grievous is well written in this cover. Then it also spawned a successful 4K Ultimate Collector's Edition Blu-ray, which doesn't just show the 4K disc, but it also shows the Blu-ray as a whole. All of the different releases make Revenge of the Sith one of the best of all the Star Wars movies. Now that I've talked about the different releases of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, this is now time to end the video where I talk about my final thoughts on the movie. Overall, Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith was the perfect way to end the 3-part trilogy of the Star Wars prequels. It has great storytelling, great writing, great characters, and the direction by George Lucas is very well done. Even the score by John Williams is very well done too. It is one of those reasons why this movie is considered the best of the prequels. And for that very reason, it is definitely worth the rewatch to conclude the entire Star Wars trilogy as a whole. Well, that about wraps up the video talking about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. I hope you really enjoyed it, and stay tuned for when I review more of the Star Wars films in the upcoming weeks to follow, because it is going to be one fun ride. So, stick around, because it's all going to be fun to watch. I hope this video was worth watching and me talking about the third and final prequel. And if you really liked it, feel free to leave a like, comment, share, and or subscribe, and stay tuned. And as always, until next time, I'll see you all later. See ya.